A common sense recap of the day's biggest stories. It's John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby. Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
And Dr. Bill Parker is the CEO of Parker Maritime Technologies. He also, by the way, a senior U.S. naval officer, commanded 3 warships, so he knows what's going on here. And Dr. Parker, this is scary. What we're talking about is the USS Carney Navy ship, which was attacked by these drones, the Houthi rebels, which are, of course, Iranian-backed. And one of them was coming right for the Carney, and it took out the drones, thank goodness. But boy, are things escalating.
Are escalating. First of all, great to be back on your show again. They are escalating, and the reality is Carney and the crew did a great job. That captain did a great job. The technology that we have in the Aegis weapon systems is working fantastic. But the reality is numbers matter. And even though we have good leadership in the Fifth Fleet AOR, area of responsibility, the fact that we had this joint comprehensive plan of action, it's a total disaster right now, and it's starting to show in a lot of different areas.
At what point are our soldiers or our Navy men starting to get apprehensive on that? I mean, in the old days, you guys would have went in and wiped out the entire area.
Apprehensive? I don't think so. I mean, they certainly know what they're doing. They're able to defend themselves, but numbers matter. And the reality is you've got poor Carney sprinting back and forth trying to defend the aircraft carrier, trying to defend this particular ship or that particular ship as missiles are inbound or as you've got these unmanned aerial vehicles that are inbound. So they're running back and forth because we don't have enough. And John, you and I have talked about this numerous times. That, you go back to the Lehman days when you had 600 ships, and today you have well under 300. We're no longer the biggest Navy in the world, and this is an example of where it's showing. We should have been able to intercept all of those missiles that did strike and the unmanned aerial vehicles that did strike the commercial vessels that were over there, and we weren't able to do so because we don't have enough ships.
Why don't you just this is Ed Cox here, why don't we just tell the Iranians the next time this happens, we're going to take out a couple of their oil refineries? That'll stop it.
Because they won't believe them.
Oh,
I hate to say that.
Right, but,
if I were them right now, I'd go free reign, sadly, and that saddens me, Ed.
But what if that happened? What about, by the way, what about the commercial ships? They were actually hit. Did they survive?
One of them was hit.
Yeah, two of them have been hit now. One with a small missile, one with a unmanned aerial vehicle. So they were hit. No major damage done to either one of them. Both of them are still operating, et cetera. But that could have been a larger weapon. It could have been something that took those vessels down. And your point is valid. Why didn't we strike when these different entities have been striking our bases over 50 times over the last month? We didn't strike then, and we're not striking now. So at some point, you've got to go in and say enough's enough. We're not going to send you any more cash. We're not going to send you airplanes and money anymore post-JCPOA. But what we are going to send you is a couple missiles inbound if you guys keep messing around here.
It's sort of the peace through strength mantra. Before we let you go, Dr. Bill Parker, I want to ask you also about Ukraine because it's getting really tight with all of these like funding for Israel, funding for Ukraine. Ukraine saying they need more weaponry ASAP, that they're in a dire crisis. Where are we at with that?
Well, we should have not let it happen in the first place. Now that we did, if you allow Russia to expand from a country to an empire by taking over Ukraine, they have a lot more in the way of nuclear power plants, of more fuel, more oil, more food. For sure, the breadbasket of that part of the world is right there in Ukraine. So it's a major problem, and we could have prevented the fighting in the first place. Now we are at a point where if we don't do anything, we're either going to be funding this for a very long time, or else Russia is going to turn into an empire again.
John, this is what happens when you have a weak president. Weakness is provocative, as Reagan used to say. And it just pains me to hear that you talk about this, Mr. Parker, because it wasn't like this when Trump was president. The image of the United States was one of strength. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I think a lot of the rest of the world, ever since the Afghanistan withdrawal, does not take America seriously.
Dr. Parker, we just have a few seconds. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, this isn't about Republicans or Democrats. Yeah. It's about peace through the ability to project power.
Amen.
Well, Dr. Bill Parker, thank you for your great service. Please keep us posted. And it is heartbreaking to hear, like what Steve is saying. Just sort of, I think it's so many people sadly smell weakness around the globe when you see all these hot spots. Thank you, Dr. Bill Parker. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.